interviews. I'm Trey's Raw, and to my side, I got Treeb Talks in the building. He was here last time we did the podcast, and he's neglecting his 5 children again, being on the podcast, but it's all good. So, and he was able to provide me with the second guest. We have Randy Isbelle in the house. Randy, I appreciate you coming on. How you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. At least I left my children upstairs.
Yeah, I got you. We appreciate you coming on. So, if I do recall, you are a Jets fan and a Yankees fan. Is that correct?
I only admit to one of them. But yes, I am. I'm a Jets and Yankee fan.
Okay, well, I'm a Patriots fan, so I just got to lead off with this. Number one, what's your opinion on the whole Aaron Rodgers drama that's going on right now? And number two, do you take any satisfaction that after a decade plus of getting pounded by us, that you probably gave Bill Belichick his last loss as a head coach?
For one, the drama that's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now is just summer talk. There's nothing else to talk about right now, so people will go crazy about it. I don't care about what Aaron Rodgers is doing until, September. And hopefully more than 4 snaps.
It's funny. I talked to Randy. It was leading up to this podcast. I was telling him, hey, I want you on. I want to get you on the podcast. And he told me a unique, I guess, story about when Aaron Rodgers went down and how he got to experience it himself. Randy, you want to tell the story of how you kind of got to take in the Aaron Rodgers injury of Week 1 last year?
Yeah, so plain and simple, as a Jets fan, you get so excited that an actual quarterback is on your team, and I have everything set up. I'm going to watch Week 1 of Monday Night Football, and I'm watching Aaron Rodgers as a Jet. And then, unfortunately, my son has a track and field practice and ends up running late. So here I am, sitting in the car, listening to the beginning of the game, and Aaron Rodgers goes down. So I didn't even get to watch it.
For Jets fans, do you think, they're in New Jersey, but do you think, that's probably equivalent to 9/11, you would think, right? Like, just that split second,
Yeah.
Like, when you hit the first tower, that was, like, right when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, but when they hit the second tower, that's when they knew he was out for the season, right? It was like another 9/11 for Jets fans.
Listen, as a Jets fan, there's not enough towers.
We're going to cause a lot of controversy with this podcast. Now, do you think that maybe the problem with Zach Wilson is you didn't have enough hot bombs in the stadium? Do you think that probably could have played a part in it? And how do you think, because he's in Denver, so he's the mile-high MILF hunter now. So what are your thoughts on Zach Wilson? Do you think he has any talent, or do you think he's cooked, basically?
No, I think he has talent. Unfortunately, he was a Jets quarterback. I think Sam Darnold has talent, but he played for the Jets. And you throw one bad throw, and then the media is going to cook you. And then if you don't have the mental capability to handle it, then you fall apart. So I think Wilson will be fine with Denver. Will he be a star there? Probably not. But yeah, you can't judge a quarterback by what they do with the Jets.
I'm going to give you a little pushback on that one. Sam Darnold is and never was a good quarterback, in my opinion. What made you think, or makes you think, Sam Darnold is a good quarterback?
I don't know. Minnesota thinks he should be a starter, so we'll see.
He does have an opportunity to start in Minnesota.
I think they already named him a starter. I'm pretty sure over there in Minnesota.
Who do they got over there in Minnesota? Refresh my memory. Is it
J.J. McCarthy is the quarterback they drafted.
Oh my God, that's a Jets quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
In time.
I guess I don't mean to step on your toes here, but maybe transitioning away from the fandoms a little bit, Randy. You're now the Idaho beat reporter for the Lewiston Tribune, taking over for a guy who I heard held it down for 2 years. Pretty solid work for 2 years, I've heard. What is your feelings on this new gig?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't covered a college that has a football team with it. I've been with LC the last couple of years, and very excited to actually cover some football. I think actually the thing I'm more excited about is just being able to be back at the Tribune and actually cover games.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so I want to get into your background. Shout out to Treeb for providing all this information. I don't know if you know this, but Treeb is kind of like the FBI. He has all your information and he relays it to me. So,
that's fine.
So you're from. Tell me a little bit like where you grow up. Are you from Idaho? Is that kind of where you grew up, or kind of different?
Yeah, born and raised here in Lewiston. I attempted to leave the black hole a couple times, and it just sucked me right back in.
Yeah, talk to me about that. People not from Lewiston, kind of, because I tried to leave. I tried to go to Sandpoint for a little bit, but I got sucked back in. What is it about the valley that keeps sucking us back in, Randy?
It's just a hole. I wish I could explain it. I have a few friends that have been able to escape and have stayed away, but it's like, if you can't pass 3 years, then you're not safe.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so you're the B reporter for the Lewiston Tribune. I want you to kind of talk me through what was it about sports media and how you kind of got involved at first. Like, did you go to college and how did that all come together? The entire backstory from then to now.
Well, plain and simple, I joined sports media because I don't have the physical capability to play sports at that level. I've always been a fan of sports. I've always, ever since I was really little, been very enamored with box scores and stats. And this is just a way to kind of use that passion in a different way. I've not been the best at telling stories, but I'm really good at compiling information and bringing it out in an interesting way. So with all the different jobs that I've done, it's been fun to try to twist it in new ways and kind of help people get more informed with these sports.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you were to give advice to upcomers that want to get involved in sports media, that want to come up, be a journalist, and be involved in the industry, what kind of advice would you give them? Do you think that schooling and going to college and stuff like that is very important, and what kind of tool set do they need in order to succeed in an industry like that?
We talked about controversy and bringing that up. I will say this as somebody who just graduated from Lewis Clark. You're not going to learn a ton from the in-building classroom settings as far as journalism goes, but the big thing that you really have to be able to do is get those connections and learn about those connections and just try different things. The thing that really worked out for me at LC was getting the connections with the radio station and with Alicia, with the sports information director, and with Dawn and the Tribune. It opens a lot more doors for you to then go and learn from the actual professionals that do the positions that you want to do.
And building in on that, Randy, you kind of got a later start as opposed to a lot of people. Most people, they kind of they hop right into to schooling, they get right in, they do the journalism thing. Kind of talk about your late start, how that kind of came to fruition, and how you landed on sports media from that front, because obviously, late in life, you're not going to make a lot of money doing this.
Right.
What made you land on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm old. I turned 40 this year, and I'm definitely feeling it. But yeah, I got a late start. I wasn't the most ambitious kid. I struggled my way through high school and barely got my diploma, and then kind of fell into a pretty easy job and didn't try to push myself. And it wasn't really until I became a parent that I decided to push myself for more, and then being able to get into the radio game and doing the play-by-play stuff kind of expanded things. And then, like you said, it wasn't until I got into college and really I was trying to just do more of the radio stuff, but that's where kind of the doors opened up for the Tribune and writing and kind of expanding things. So like you're 100% right. I am 15 years behind the game. I'm not going to end up on any big publication or any big play-by-play stuff, but I'm just doing it for fun. Like I want a job that I can enjoy, that I'm not dreading going to work every day. So I'm not going to become a millionaire doing this stuff, but at least I'm not dreading going to work, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and that's an important thing too. I would 100% say, kind of touch on that. I mean, there's people in life that are going to be chasing the money, chasing the bag, looking for six-figure jobs. NFL
Right.
players, things like that, or just any kind of profession. When you get this late in life and you're kind of just trying to choose a job that makes you happy, just kind of talk about that path and choosing happiness, I guess, over financial gain, I suppose.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more difficult, isn't it, to make that choice? And luckily, I've met somebody who has a decent enough job, and we both make about the same amount of money. So I was able to kind of lean on her a little bit for these 4 years where I wasn't making as much money, and we were able to do just fine. And I think that's the important part is trying to find that balance of being comfortable where you're not, like going from paycheck to paycheck where you're trying to stretch everything out, but you're not going to have to go to therapy sessions just because you have a job you don't like. So that was always my dream. Was I had this job, it paid pretty well, I made some decent money about it, but I just over the years got tired of doing that job. So you have to push yourself and motivate yourself to go, all right, for a couple of years it might hinder me financially, but in the end, hopefully I can find a good balance of the two.
Yeah, no question. And I got a chance to ask Treeb this when we were doing our last podcast, and I want to get your spin on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was your perception? Because we all see, the Stephen A. Smith, the Skip Bayless, that sort of thing, which is the high end of sports media. So what was your perception on guys like that before you got into the industry, and has that changed now that you got into it? Do you respect the craft a little bit more, or were your assumptions before verified in a way now? Yeah.
Oh, it's tough to think of what my beliefs and my outset of them were before I got into the business, but now that I've gotten into the business more, I respect what they're doing, because the way that the electronics and online and everything is so much more easily accessible for people to get this information. Things like Sports Center, things unfortunately like newspapers become less and less important. So then you have to find your own spin on things. And for Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, they found a way to turn up the volume and get people talking and get that interaction. And that's really what drives in the viewers. Like nobody watches Sports Center anymore, because all of those highlights, you could go on the website for ESPN or on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever and see all of the highlights. You can go on YouTube and find them all even faster than what ESPN is going to be able to do. And those have kind of gone away. So we see it in the newspaper business as well. It's getting away from the play-by-play of what happened and more trying to come out with a way to spin it and kind of have your own opinion on what did happen, because that's what people are more interested about, because they can go and see the stats, they can go watch the highlights, but it's the entertainment and the over the top personalities that those guys bring that I don't have, but I respect a lot.
Yeah, no question about that. So being the new Idaho beat reporter, getting to work with these guys, they extended Jason Eck's contract, and he's going to be the head coach for the foreseeable future, hopefully, and I know he's gotten a lot of praise from Treeb and others in that area. So what are your thoughts on the upcoming season? I know we actually get to play Oregon, and I know I said we, and Trevin hates when I say we, but it's just a creature of habit. But I'll try to stop saying that. But what's your thought on the schedule, and what do you think? What are the expectations, I guess, is the better way to say, for the Vandals this season?
So obviously I've been somebody that watches Idaho from the outside. I'll catch a game here and there and read some of Treeb stuff. So I'm not on the day-to-day stuff that he's been able to, and I haven't gotten into that role just yet. But from what I've been able to see, it's really going to rely on Idaho's defense and how much those core players that are coming back can really stabilize things, because I do think it's going to take the offense a little bit to get clicking. Most of their returners are on the offensive line, which will help because that was an issue before. So give them a little bit more experience and try to solidify things and try to get clicking. The one good thing when you have teams in the FCS is your first few games are against those really good FBS teams, and you can really test yourself against the best. And then by the time hopefully you start clicking, that's when you get into Big Sky competition, and then hopefully you get rolling from there.
For sure, Randy. Now, kind of going back a little bit, obviously where you started your career, he started his career as a play-by-play guy. And, you know, me and you back in the day when we were kids, we'd be doing kind of, you know, what we're doing now, showing Madden gameplay. And me and you would commentate over the games, you know, add our own little commentary. We do that with WWE games as well. Randy, I'm a little... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Like, I'll let Tree finish his question, but to add on to that, give me your top five dead or alive greatest play-by-play announcers.
Yeah, and before you know, I'll give you time to think about that with adding another question. You know, what was it like for you getting into play-by-play? How'd you get into it? And you know, what initially gave you your foot in the door?
I'll answer Treeb's questions first because that's the one that's possible. Trying to figure out the top five is brutal. But basically, a buddy of mine who I then did the podcast with for a few years for LC, Robert Hagan, knew the people at Nelly Broadcasting and had told me that he was going to start doing Clarkson baseball for them because he works in the Clarkson School District and really wanted to get them on the radio. And I just looked at him and said, me too. That's how I got my foot in the door. It was just I kind of barged my way through and then worked for them for a couple of years, and then have been able to twist and worked for McVeigh and did some LC stuff, and that's basically how I got in. As far as the voices, I mean, Vince Scully is the number one. I mean, yes, he was with the Dodgers, but I could listen to his games all the time. Obviously, as a Yankee fan, I've listened to a ton of Michael Kay. And I know you can take him or leave him, but I really like the way that he has his conversations. Obviously, John Sterling on the radio side and his home run calls were always a lot of fun. But other than that, obviously, Nestler in college football is definitely up there. I know a lot of people don't like Joe Buck, but you can learn a lot from him and his simplicity for the television style, because TV play-by-play and radio play-by-play are two different things. So I think those are probably my five off the top of my head.
All right, what do you think of? Because I will not tolerate any Al Michaels slander.
I don't understand. He's fallen off.
Podcast.
He's fallen off bad.
What's your opinion on Al Michaels?
I like Al Michaels too, and sure, has he fallen off a little bit? Maybe, but again, with the play-by-play for TV stuff, it's all about the conversations and stuff, and then you put him with Chris Collinsworth, who has to say, well, here's a guy every other word, and you kind of lose that rhythm that he had before. But I've always liked Al Michaels.
Yeah, for sure, Randy. And then, you know, kind of talk to me about you know, your other side stuff. I mean, kind of like what me and Trey are doing here now. I mean, we're brothers. We're doing podcasting. I mean, we both have had, you know, different YouTube channels over the years. We like doing this YouTube stuff. You're one and the same in that aspect. I mean, you've had the R&R podcast for years. I think years, yeah. Right? I think years. Yeah. Yeah, you've had the R&R podcast.
R&R is almost 4 years old before we stopped that, because then I took on this full-time job with the Tribune and trying to get schedules to line up. We're trying to wait to see how things line up before we try to bring that back, but that was almost 4 years old. And we started a new thing. It's called Bad Brackets on YouTube. You could check it out. It's basically me bringing on three friends and torturing them for an hour. We bring up a certain topic, and I make a 24-item bracket of said topic and then basically torture them with essentially my bad takes as I put a bracket together and they just get mad at what I put together. But basically it's an excuse to debate about certain topics and then figure out what was the best of the best.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of want to go back to the announcing thing real quick because obviously, you have the play-by-play, which would be the color commentator, and then you have the other guy, which...
Those are different things. Play-by-play and
yeah.
color.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, I'm still learning.
This is what the whole podcast is. We're trying to inform Trey on the media thing. But those are the two different things: play-by-play and color.
Okay.
Yeah.
All colors are good.
Yes, all colors are good. Yes.
Okay, no, but the whole announcing thing. So you have the color commentator, you have the play-by-play commentator. Obviously, as a color one, you have to be a little bit more intuitive as far as like the X's and O's, and you want to try to find out, okay, what's this team doing? Are they playing more zone? Are they playing like what personnel are they in? This and that. Is that an aspect in sports that interests you, or would you say you're more into like the, I don't want to say casual side of things, but I guess more the norm fan things? Are you into the whole X's and O's at all, or not really? Nah.
Depending on the sport, baseball for sure. I'm into the weeds with baseball and all the analytics that are going on and all the different coaching strategies that continue to evolve throughout the years. Football is pretty close. I've not been as in tuned lately. I blame Madden as you're playing Madden gameplay as that game has fallen off. So too has my knowledge of all the different intricacies, especially of defensive setups, because you learn that when you're playing Madden because it's all set up there. And in basketball, I could care less. I'm very, very casual when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, I never, like, basketball is the one sport that I never got into, like, at any level, really. But yeah, so going off of that, you talk about Madden, and that's kind of, I do interviews as well as Madden. I've been playing Madden for a while, and also Treeb tells me that you are pretty into gaming yourself, and so talk to me about what are some of your favorite games, and again, like what's the state of gaming it is now with the PS5 and the Xbox? Do you think that it's in a good space, or is it kind of falling off now? Well,
I would have said gaming is in a good state until the last year or so. I think the PS5 and the Xbox One, things got a little bit too overboard as far as graphics went. And now we're seeing a lot of studios fall off and get shut down because games are becoming far more expensive to make. And even though they become bestsellers, they're unable to get that money back. And it's taking 6, 7, 8 years to get a game out. Talk about the games that I like as far as the new stuff goes. Obviously, I buy MLB The Show every year because I'm a baseball nut. But Naughty Dog is a big company that I'll buy all of their games. And they haven't had a game come out since 2020. And they're haven't even announced the next game that they're working on yet. So, that's 2 or 3 years away. I mean, you go back to when I was growing up and go back as far back as the regular Nintendo, and Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 came out in 6 consecutive years. They were coming out with games so quick back then, and it's just become too technical and too difficult to make games that I feel bad for those that are in that industry right now, because you spend 4 to 5 to 6 years of your life just to come out with a game, and then the gamers go, no, I don't like this too much, and then you're out of a job.
Yeah, no question. And what's your opinion? Another hot topic, obviously, as a Madden player, is the whole microtransactions thing. I'm someone like me and Treeb over here. We grew up in the days where you'd go to the store, you'd buy a game, and then you play it for 10, 12 hours. You shelve it and you move on to the next thing. But those days are over. Like, I feel like now when you pick a video game to play, that is your video game that you're essentially going to invest a lot of time and money into it. And do you think that the days of casually playing, 4 or 5 games, playing the story mode and all that, like those days are gone? And what is the morality, I guess, of microtransactions? I'm sure you have your own opinion about that one.
Well, microtransactions are one thing. What sports games are doing is egregious, and I absolutely hate all the card game systems that they have done. Again, I buy the show every year. I have not played online since they introduced all the card pack systems because I just could care less. I'll do my franchise stuff. But I'll push back as far as casually playing the games as you talked about, where you pick it up, you play it 8-9 hours, and you put it away forever. That's still what I do. Like, I'm big into a lot of the indie game stuff, and I'm big into the story game stuff. So, like, the games that I've played so far this year, other than MLB The Show, have really been the pick up and play, the Crow Counties of the world, the Animal Wells of the world. So those are still a thing, but obviously game companies have learned from what Call of Duty has done and what Madden has done, and FIFA, where I guess it's what EA Soccer or whatever it's called now. What they have been able to do is basically, as you said, come up with that group of gamers where they're going to pick up one game, and it's going to be Call of Duty, and they're going to spend $500 on that game, and that works for the companies. I'm just not that gamer.
Yeah, no, you're not that gamer, and and this is my opinion because I'm someone, like, I went back and I bought a PS3 like some months ago, and it's like everyone wants to complain, which I get. The microtransactions is whatever. But when you go back and you try to get your hands on like a retro game or try to get a PC, that, in my opinion, is just as big of a ripoff as microtransactions are. Is that something you would agree with? And if you know of a way to get cheap like old video game consoles, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, not legally. I collect old games. I'm getting close to 2,000 old games in my house right now. It's not cheap, and it's not easy to do, especially as things get older and older. My best advice is don't buy things on eBay, because things get a lot more expensive there. Obviously, it gets a lot tougher to find things when you don't go that route, but I'm always, when I'm traveling for games and such, especially up to Coeur d'Alene, I'll hit a couple pawn shops and a couple of the stores that I know will have some classic games, and you just kind of give it a look and see if anything sparks your interest, or if they have a game that might be a little bit devalued. But yeah, the state trying to get classic video games these days is spendy.
Yeah, no doubt. And you talk about Coeur d'Alene, and obviously, it's I know back in the day, when we were starting off YouTube, our parents would say, don't tell strangers online where you're located, but nowadays it's becoming more prevalent. But the reason I brought that up is that since we're talking about it, how is the video game scene locally? Like the people that you interact with, I don't really interact with a whole lot of people from here, if I'm being honest. But like, do you think that it is a huge hobby in this area, or do you think people are just into like other things mostly?
There's a few people that are into it. Obviously, there's a couple of stores here in town that definitely know their stuff, and for those that are listening locally, Gameplay is the place I go. I know there's a Charlie's Retro thing that just opened up, and I knew the guy that opened that. So there's not a ton of people, but those that are passionate about it are definitely around in this area for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so speaking of video games, a video game that is pretty popular that me and Treeb, and I don't know if you did, is wrestling, and I understand that you have, and I'm very excited to get into this. But backyard wrestling, as far as I know, I don't know, like people in the wrestling industry would call it garbage wrestling, like ECW, that
Right.
kind of hardcore stuff. It I just want you to give me the rundown on how you got into it, because I'm sure that there's an interesting story there.
I have enough brain cells that I lost from doing backyard wrestling that I don't know if I can recount a lot of it. I did it for about 8 years. It was just one of those things where me and a few friends were goofing around, and then we met some other people that were actually doing it, and just kind of grew from there. Unfortunately, this is what, 15-ish years ago, so we didn't have a lot of availability online stuff to find other people to really get into it, and we did it on a trampoline for the most part, which I absolutely hated. I always tried to do all the crazy stuff that definitely I would not do now as somebody that's a bit older and maybe hopefully a bit wiser. But I've done a bunch of stupid stuff over the years, but I've also gotten really lucky with the backyard wrestling stuff. We did meet a group from Utah, and a couple of us actually traveled down there one summer, and they were part of an indie federation, and one of them had one of their practice rings in their backyard. So technically we still did backyard wrestling, but I have done a few matches in an actual wrestling ring, and have wrestled a couple people who still are in the independent scene now. So I feel like I'm a professional wrestler adjacent in ways, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know if you and Treeb got to talk about the old days, but when we were growing up, it was definitely, like you said, you get the trampoline, go over to your friend's house. One of them would have like 4 or 5 springs missing, but you would still wrestle. Anyway, I'm actually going to pass it on to Treeb because he probably knows more about. He remembers more stories about this, but tell us a story about when, I don't know if we should say his name, but we'll just call him Jordan, when he threw a brick at your arm.
Well, I mentioned, and his name's not Jordan. I think it's funny that Jordan was your go-to name.
Yeah.
That was a funny name, but I mentioned him in the last podcast. My best friend growing up, Bryce, we had a Extreme Rules match when we were 9 years old in the snow, and when you're 9 years old, at Extreme Rules, anything goes. This man pulled out a brick and threw a brick at me. And I remember throwing the biggest fit because it just barely missed my head. And he said, "It's Extreme Rules, anything goes."
Yeah.
So now I'm going to pass it on to you, Randy. What's the most extreme bump that you ever took in backyard wrestling?
For those that are around town, obviously it's changed now, but the old Castle Park, I've jumped off one of the tower things on that. That was probably the most extreme bump that I've taken. As far as silly things that I've been hit with, I've been hit with a VCR. I've been hit with a few glass pictures. Those are always more fun sound-wise than anything. They're never really dangerous by any means. I think my craziest story didn't involve me exactly. I was in the match, but me and a buddy did a suplex off a ladder onto a bunch of chairs, and the ladder got hooked on his foot and came down and hit him in the head, gave him a pretty good concussion, and he didn't think right after that, and basically chased the other wrestler in the match around with a bat. And I legit thought he was going to hit him with it, even though that was not part of the match at all. So there were some crazy times, for sure.
Now, another question I have for you, Randy. I got two here about the backyard wrestling, then we'll let it go. My first question is did these matches have structure to it? Not really as far as these matches go, but was there like a week-to-week structure, right? Were people getting pushed? Were people, kind of elevating up the card? And then 2, were you a mid-card act? Were you a main eventer? Where was your place in this card?
Yeah, we had the full federation deal. The guy that was running it came up with the card every week and came up with quote-unquote storylines. There was a couple summers that were better than others as far as like things actually being cohesive. The one issue, and I'm sure you guys will understand this, you try to have these storylines, and then somebody will go away for a few weeks or just kind of drop it completely. So it gets a little difficult. We came up with the brilliant idea of buying a bunch of masks. So I think I had 4 or 5 characters by the end of our run, just so it looked like our roster was stacked, but it was literally just 6 of us at that point. As far as my character, I was always one of the top heels, one of the top bad guys. If you're not a wrestling fan, I always had a lot of fun with that. My nickname came from my wrestler, and then the young kids have killed it. So I went by the Riz, which was just a play on the Miz, and Riz has been a nickname forever, and now that's a cool saying for the kids, and now I hate it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. So you essentially invented the slang word Riz today. That's pretty wild. I guess it's better than if your name wasn't like you just put a G instead of an R.
The Grizz.
Or the Miz.
Oh, the Miz.
Yeah, is that? All right. So one more question about the whole wrestling thing.
You mean a J?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what
you said G, didn't you?
I think I said J.
Oh, I think you said G. But maybe I misheard you. But the J is a lot funnier. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. Anyway, so relating that back to wrestling, how invested are you into the product today? And also, live events, not just WWE. Me, Treeb, have been to a few of those in the area. Obviously, had a blast pretty much every single time. And do you think we'll ever get to the point where the Spokane Arena will host a pay-per-view? I know they've done Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that before, but do you think it'll ever be not like a WrestleMania, but like a Survivor Series or something like that?
As far as the Spokane question, no. Especially the way the WWE is running right now, it is too small of an arena at this point. I'm shocked that we haven't really had a pay-per-view in Seattle, it feels like, in a bit, so hopefully that changes. Yeah, but I've been big into wrestling for a long time. I don't watch it as religiously as I used to. I'm what I call a YouTube watcher. So for Raw and SmackDown or NXT, I'll go on and watch the YouTube clips for that night just to kind of keep an eye on things and see where things go. And then I'll watch the PLEs, they're called PLEs now. But I'm more of a WWE guy. I'm not huge into AEW. I just can't get into it. Same with TNA. I don't have as much time to watch all of the stuff. So I'm very much just into WWE. But yeah, I would love for more live events to come in. I've been to a few, as you had said. They've been to Spokane a few times. I was at a SmackDown in Spokane years ago. I went to WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, and the last one I went to was when NXT had TakeOver in Portland right before COVID hit.
Real quick, was the SmackDown you said you went to in Spokane, was that around 2008, or was that a little bit later?
Is that whenever Christian was doing the "Give Me One More Shot" deal? That sounds about right.
Oh shit! Then we were probably there too. It was when Vicky Guerrero was the general manager.
Yeah,
it was like a SmackDown in ECW.
Well, you know what I remember that SmackDown for, the one that was live. Is this one we're talking about?
Yeah.
That one was the birth of a new character in WWE, the most memorable character in WWE history. Do you know who it was, Trey?
I'm blanking on.
You don't remember? This guy went on to be a Hall of Fame career, and he transitioned his character, and he is an all-time great.
I mean, I remember
it was Kung Fu Naki.
Kung Fu Naki.
Yeah, it was Funaki, but he transitioned to Kung Fu Naki.
That's awesome.
All right, and real quick, because you were talking about wrestling on YouTube, and I just want to know, because obviously you have the WrestleLamias, it's a lot more producer but do you remember, I don't know, were you into YouTube back when there was all these weirdos like the IWC back in the day, when there was just these weirdo YouTube channels, and probably the weirdest one of them is still going on YouTube, and all of them have been pretty much taken away? Or do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I'm sure I watched some of them, but I can't remember a lot of the ones that I was watching back then.
All right, you can.
All right. Before we get into a new segment here, because I know Randy, he's on the desk tonight. He is putting out the Moscow Pullman Daily News sports section. So make sure, if you are in the Moscow Pullman Daily News readership area, you pick yourself up a fresh copy of that newspaper.
They're gonna have to start paying us to promote them like this.
No, I work for them, so it's free.
I don't.
Yeah, well,
so technically they're paying Trev.
Yeah, technically they're paying me.
Yeah.
But I got a couple more questions for you, Randy, then we're gonna hop into the new game. My first question is I want to talk about your work as a card dealer at the casino, and if there are any wild stories that you have there, and then talk to me about Don Walden and your relationship with him and how crazy that guy was.
Oh man, the stories at the casino are endless. I worked there from 2008 until just a couple of weeks ago, other than like a 2-year stint where I was working at a bank. A couple of stories that I could throw that are off the top of my head. Luckily, it was not while I was at the table, but I was there when cleanup needed to be made. But we had a gentleman get too drunk and piss himself while playing blackjack and continued to play after it had happened. So that was fun. My favorite story of me having to kick somebody out was we had a gentleman playing a game and he continued to throw the N-word around, which I was the floor at the time, so I had to deal with it. I gave him the one warning we were trying to give, so you can't say stuff like that. He turned around and said it right to me, so I kicked him out, and this was 2019, so we're getting ready for the Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton presidential race. And because I kicked him out because he was throwing around the N-word, I became a Hillary Clinton lover. And I was such a horrible Democrat because I was kicking him out for his language. And that was new to me. I've never been called a Clinton lover before. As far as the Don Walden stories, he always cracked me up because obviously he was a very caring person and definitely took the time out to teach you things and make sure everything was okay for the time that I was there. And I know you were really close with him. But I always had a lot of fun where anything, especially if I saw it first and knew, like if we're reading pages and I saw something that I just knew was going to set him off. Yeah, you kind of had, especially unless we're right next to deadline, I always kind of got that smile because I just knew something was going to happen. And the amount of times he would throw his notebook over the thing that I had noticed always cracked me up. But the one thing with Don that always got me is he'd throw his notebook, he would say his couple cuss words, and then 2 minutes later he's having a conversation with you. It's like he just had to blow off steam and get it out of his system, and then he was just good to go. I've never seen somebody have so many ups and downs emotionally as Don did.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, shout out to Don. I never met him, but he sounds like an amazing guy and all that.
He was
great.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Great guy.
Big mentor to like the entire sports staff.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Sam right now. But I mean, like the Randy Isbelles, the Trevor Pixley's, the Taryn Kovacs of the world.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Stephen Weeby's of the world. Big impact on this local journalism. But anyway, Trey, go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to the gambling thing, I have 2 quick questions for you. Number one is your time as a car dealer. Did they do any training on like what to look for in terms of if someone was cheating the system, and like from your position, like if you did catch someone cheating, did you pursue it so hard, or did you figure, well, I'm only getting paid X amount of money, so it's not even.
He's not working there anymore, so he can answer that.
Yeah,
right.
And then number 2. Sorry to cut you off, but number 2. Do you think it'll ever get to the point where doing like DraftKings and stuff like that will be legal in our area soon?
Well, I'm still shocked that DraftKings isn't legal in Idaho because they let everything else go, but for whatever reason, online gambling is such a poo-poo thing. So I'm hoping at some point, I know Washington's getting closer to allowing certain sports betting right now. So hopefully over the next few years that will change. I'm very hopeful that it will get to the point where everything will be legal and we can just spend our money like degenerates and they can let us live our lives and be broke. As far as the card stuff goes, yeah, it's not hard to tell if somebody is card counting. A lot of people think that they're clever about it. There's a guy that used to work at Lancers who has now gone on to make a lot of money by card counting, and he was a good poker player too. But he'd come out with videos of trying to be a troll to the dealers down in Vegas and stuff because they would catch him and he would throw his fits and all that stuff. And I hate that kind of stuff. But it's not that hard to tell. A lot of it is just based on their betting structure. It's not, oh, he's winning, so he has to be card counting. There's just certain things that card counters will do that you can keep an eye on. And especially in our area with such a small casino, you're not going to have the brightest people usually attempting to do that kind of stuff. So usually we just let them do it because they're not as good at card counting as they think they are. And they're going to end up failing and giving us all their money back anyways.
Sorry, I was going back to the Twitter. I'm making sure that everything is good on the production side. I'm new on this whole podcast production, but and right now there's only 1 or 2 viewers, but eventually, we're going to be on that 1,000 viewer threshold.
There's probably some aliens watching from other countries.
Well, the one person, we got 2, but the one person watching is definitely me. Because I'm definitely
Shane might pop in at one point.
I'm keeping tabs, but we're gonna grow this thing, and then Randy can say I was the first ever guest on this podcast.
Hell yeah!
And we're gonna grow it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how we're gonna grow this thing? We're gonna grow it by doing the first ever Trump the Trey segment. Trey is rubbing his hands right now because Randy is not prepared for what is going to be going down.
I'm not prepared either. So.
I don't think either one of you are prepared. So this is a new game that we are bringing to the podcast. And if you guys are fans of ESPN Classics or you grew up in, Randy, do you know what year Stump the Schwab was around? Probably the early 2000s?
It was in the early 2000s. I don't know the exact years, but I love that show.
Yeah, so probably around the early 2000s, Stump the Schwab, where everybody tried to stump the Schwab with sports knowledge. And what we do is I try to find the common denominator between this beast of a man right here that I'm sitting next to my right, to Mr. Trey, is Raw, and our guest to try to stump the Trey. And today...
I thought it was Trump the Trey.
What did I say?
You said stump the Trey.
Trump the Trey. I apologize.
Well, we gotta remember we have a Clinton supporter in here, so... I'm just kidding.
Good joke. On top of it. We got Clinton the Trey today. And we have 2 topics that Trey and Randy are going to be going head-to-head on, Stump the Schwab style. And we are going to be bringing this into every single interview that we do from here on out on the Raw interviews. And if you guys have never seen Stump the Schwab, it's going to make a lot of sense as it goes along. There are some questions where you and Randy are going to be going back and forth, naming certain things. I'm going to be giving you guys a 5-second time limit if it's one of those questions. And then there's a couple of just trivia questions that I'm going to ask either one of you the answer for. And if the score is tied at the end of it, it won't happen because there's 5 questions. That's just how it's going to go, and we are going to learn as we do it. So welcome to Trump the Trey at the end of the podcast. And the first topic today is the AFC East. So the AFC East, with both of you guys being Patriots and Jets fans. Trey, you are the host of this podcast. So, for the first either-or question, you could either accept or defer to Randy. What would you like to do?
I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. Here's your question. One running back who has played for both the Jets and the Patriots is on their all-time leading rushers list. Who is that player?
Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I thought that was an uncommon question. I didn't know Curtis Martin played for the Patriots.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good question. And Curtis Martin only had like 2,000 yards for the Patriots.
I don't even remember what year he played for the Patriots. I just remember. Because it's like we were doing the whole SpongeBob thing, and my brain will just pick and choose whatever it wants to retain. So
you retained that.
Yeah.
All right, Randy. This next trivia question goes to you.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
I was mute.
Sorry. Trey muted.
Yeah.
We're still learning here. So here's your question. The Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls. How many times have they played in the Super Bowl?
Wow. So let's see. So Brady, I want to say, has lost. What did he end up losing? 4, but I think one was with Tampa. Oh, man. I'll say the Patriots have been in 10 Super Bowls.
Correct.
All right, 1-1 so far.
1-1. All right. So now we're going to the first round of Stump the Schwab style.
Okay.
So we're going back and forth here. All right. Name any current or former starting quarterback from any AFC East team, excluding the Jets or Patriots, unless they played for them and another divisional team until one person gives up.
So can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, so name any current or former starting quarterback from any AFC East, excluding the Jets and Patriots, unless they played for either the Bills or who's the other team in the division? The Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Yeah.
Drew Bledsoe.
All right, Randy, on to you.
Tua.
5, 4, 3. Are you shitting me? You can name any quarterback.
Dan Marino.
Okay.
Back on me.
Did he say something? Yeah, back on you, Randy. I'm sorry.
Josh Allen.
Okay.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yep, there you go. That's a good one.
Good one.
4,
Jim Kelly.
5, 4.
Joe Namath.
You played for the Jets.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
out.
I
You're out.
lost.
You're out.
Shout out to Broadway Joe.
Jesus Christ. All right, we're going to have to refine these questions for the next time we do Trump the Trey, because you flopped on that one. All right. This next question. The Jets have beat the Patriots only 6 times in the last 20 years.
Huh.
Name those years. And if it's a tie, then we'll label it a tie.
I know.
Starting with you. Yeah.
The first one that comes to mind is the bullshit 2011 AFC Championship game.
2011, correct. Randy, on to you.
That was a divisional round, not a championship game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, last year, 2023.
Correct. Five.
21.
Incorrect.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Randy, if you can give me a year, you get this point.
We're going back how many years? 20?
20 years, yeah.
I'll just throw out a guess of 2009.
Incorrect.
8.
Correct.
Oh, let's go.
Randy, you got a year?
I was going to
I
just
think,
go 7.
Wasn't that 2008, was that the,
No, 2008 was when Brady tore his ACL.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Alright. Randy, it's your turn. You're kind of on a delay a little bit, so what do you got a year?
Man, 2014.
Oh my god. Incorrect. So Trey, you get the point, but Randy, I'll tell you, 2013 and 2015 would have been acceptable answers. Right in between the years. All right. So it's 2-1 Trey. Randy, I'm gonna give you this question because it's not really a good back and forth question, and I think it would be better if you could just do it to tie it heading into topic number 2.
Mm-hmm.
3 quarterbacks have won multiple AFC titles. Name them.
Okay, say that again. 3 quarterbacks of what?
3 quarterbacks have won multiple AFC East titles. Name them.
There's only been 3 ever?
So 3 in the last 20 years. So,
okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have said that. Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady, obviously. God, you have to say Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? And Josh Allen. Those would be my 3.
Is that your final guess?
Yeah.
Boy, I like you said, Josh.
And you said Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. So it would be Tom Brady, Josh Allen, and Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
He did it for 2 different teams.
I just figured going with Fitzpatrick because he played for all of them.
That is true.
Yeah.
Chad Pennington surprised me. That's why I put it on there. All right. Now, so what is it? 2-1 Trey. Trey has a 2-1 advantage.
Okay. Good.
And now, we are going to the WWE in the early 2000s. Trey is, again, rubbing his hands. And Randy told me before this interview that we would have to go earlier for him to stand a chance.
Trish Stratus is the hottest diva of all time. Is that one?
Well, you are a misogynistic pig is what you are.
Okay.
All right. So the first question is going to be a back and forth, and I think Randy stands a good chance with this one.
Okay.
All right. And starting with you, Trey. Name Royal Rumble winners starting in the year 2000 until someone runs out. So it's going to be 2000 until currently, and if you guys name all of them, the tiebreaker will go back before 2000.
Okay, so 2000, I'm going to say Stone Cold.
Well, he did. You're out. Incorrect.
What was from 2000 to?
Okay, you can name any Royal Rumble winner.
I thought I had to go in order.
No, any
so
person.
It can be anyone from. Okay.
I'm gonna have to refine how I ask these questions. This is a trial run, but anybody.
Okay.
And you don't have to say the year. You don't have to say the year. Just say the person.
John Cena.
Correct.
So you said 2000 until today, or what?
Yeah, 2000 to today.
Well, he brought up 2000, so I'll bring up 2000. And it was The Rock that won it, but technically Big Show should have won it.
Correct. You got another one?
Rey Mysterio.
Correct.
I'll just keep going through the years. Austin won it, no one.
Sorry, Trey. I always you weren't incorrect at first. I apologize.
No,
I always
good.
Get 2001 mixed up because I think Kane won that year because he had all the eliminations.
He had the most eliminations. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. So okay, who's your next one?
Undertaker.
Correct.
Undertaker won one. Triple H.
Triple H. Correct. You gotta unmute yourself. Or you're.
We're good.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Final guess.
I think I'm out.
Are you out already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
I was gonna because I'm thinking of Alberto Del Rio, but that was
2011.
2011.
That is one. So yeah,
you said from 2000 to 09, right?
No, until today. So
any Royal Rumble in general.
Yeah, from 2000 to now.
Okay, Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, you are right. I screwed myself.
Yeah.
God damn it. I've got to get better at hosting these. Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
On to you, Randy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Lesnar.
That's correct. He's 1-2. 5, 4, 3, 2.
CM Punk. I don't think.
Incorrect.
I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
I don't think he won one. I just said a name.
All right. Randy gets the point,
Yeah.
and this is very sloppily done.
Oh, man, I had so many more.
Yeah, I know. Randy binge watches every Royal Rumble leading up to the Royal Rumble.
Shout out to Peacock,
Yeah.
streaming service to watch
Yeah.
all the old pay-per-views. Yeah.
All right. Now this is another one, and Trey, I have a little bit more high hopes for you on this one.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to list out the big four to you right now.
Okay.
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam.
Okay.
Name secondary or B-list WWE. So secondary and B-list are the same thing. So name secondary or B-list WWE pay-per-views until somebody can't anymore.
Armageddon.
Correct.
Elimination Chamber.
Correct.
Money in the Bank.
Correct.
Bad Blood.
Correct. That's an old school one. Correct.
But they brought it
Sunday.
back.
Correct.
Cyber Sunday's a good one. Will you accept Taboo Tuesday?
Yes. Correct.
No Mercy.
Correct.
Does In Your House count as a pay-per-view name?
In your house? Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Five, 4, 3.
Backlash.
Correct.
Unforgiven.
Correct. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You got anything in the chamber?
I'm sure I could think if I didn't have a time limit, I could probably think of them. But
Well, if we didn't have a time limit, then it would be,
Money in the Bank. I said Armageddon.
Yeah, I'm not giving you a point after this, but
Yeah, no. Capital Punishment. That
that
could
was
have
good.
been.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right. So you got the Jets, 3 quarterbacks. Randy got the Rumble.
I think you got.
So it's 2-2, right?
So I got. He got all the WWE ones so far. So 2, and then.
And then I got the AFC
And then he
East
got-
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
so it's 3-2 or no 3-2 Randy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go with that.
All right, 3-2 Randy.
Yeah, we'll get.
All right, Trey, this is for you.
Okay.
I made this question specifically for you just to see. Sorry, Randy, but I'm just trying to test if he knows this very specific pay-per-view
I probably
that
do.
we
Yeah.
that we watched when we were kids,
We grew up on it.
and it was
Yeah.
like this is like the first
Obscure. Yeah.
pay-per-view that we have watched.
Yeah.
All right, Joey Mercury famously broke his nose in a ladder match at 2007's Armageddon, but it was originally supposed to be a regular 2v2 tag team match. Who was that match supposed to be against?
Okay, so first of all, it was 06, not 07.
Oh, sorry.
And saying that, I have no idea on who, because they faced Jeff. It was Joey Mercury and whoever versus Jeff and Matt Hardy.
There's a fatal 4-way.
It was a fatal. I don't even know.
And
who-
you're missing the 2 original people that were in that match.
I don't even know who the other 2 tag partners are. I just know Jeff Hardy did a swanton. I have no clue. I still to this day I have no idea what the intention of that was, on what the desired outcome of that was. But I remember it, but I have no idea who was in the match aside from those 2. So.
All right. Randy, do you have an answer for that one, maybe? Passing it on to you.
Off the top of my head, wasn't it like William Regal and Tajiri?
Oh, you're close. You're close. You're very close. It's William Regal and somebody else.
Dave London.
Oh, you got the name right. Dave, wrong last name.
Oh, he's combined it. London and Kendrick was in that match.
Yeah. It was.
Who was with Regal?
Dave Taylor.
Dave Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not as cool of a tag team as him as Tajiri.
No. I that was super niche. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, when you threw out William Regal, I was like, damn, Randy knew it too. That's crazy. Paul London and Brian Kendrick were some of my favorites.
Yeah, they were for sure.
Well, because that match was supposed to be against William Regal and Dave Taylor, right?
Yeah, and then Theodore Long said, "Hold on a minute, playa."
Yeah. Then he brought in the high flyers.
All right.
And, yeah.
So it's 3-2, Randy again. All right. This is for at least a tie or all the marbles, and I have a tiebreaker question if it does go to a tie.
Okay.
Name Undertaker WrestleMania opponents.
All right, here we go. Giant Gonzalez.
Correct. Randy.
Shawn Michaels.
Correct.
Triple H.
Correct.
Technically John Cena.
Brock Lesnar.
Correct.
AJ Styles.
Correct.
Kane.
Correct.
Go Sid.
Correct.
Batista.
Correct.
Diesel.
Correct. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I didn't even get to do my
WrestleMania 19 one.
That's The Rock. No.
No.
The Rock was Stone Cold and The Rock in 19.
It was Stone
God,
Cold.
I'm embarrassed. I should know a lot more about.
Yeah.
Again, if there was no time limit, I could sit and name it all. But
Well, you know,
that's
you got a time limit and trump the tray, and
I got beat on my own segment.
yeah.
Pretty.
I think that's gonna be a common trend.
I'll come back stronger for next time, and shout out to
the Clinton supporter. He officially trumped the tray.
Yeah.
He officially trumped the tray. Well, you know, me and Trey are gonna stick around for the end segment here to talk a little bit about Eminem and a little bit more about the podcast. But before we do that, we're gonna send Randy on his way. Randy, thank you so much for doing this podcast, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Any social medias you want to plug or anything like that?
You can follow me at Randy Isbelle on Twitter, but hopefully I'll use it more once Idaho starts football, but I don't use it much.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad, like, Randy, he was a part-timer when I was working, and, I was also a part-timer when he was a part-timer. We kind of moved up in the same way. I couldn't think of a better person to take this position, take this beat. So, again, Randy, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Guys, have a good one.
You too, man.
You too.
That was Randy Isbelle, famous backyard wrestler, card dealer. I mean, jack of all trades, really. Randy Isbelle.
Yeah, no, shout out to him. I believe he was one of the first people to comment on our video when it went live last week. So,
was he?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he commented on it.
I just remember his name was, because you told me he was coming on, and then do you know who that was that commented then? He left like 3.
Yeah, that's like
Big J.
Scott Mullis.
Scott, okay.
Yeah, he's like an old school guy from my journalism career. You keep talking to the people. I gotta go pee. But you talk to the people. This is like the obligatory Treeb pee break.
You know they say when you have a laptop on your lap, it kills your sperm cells.
Well, I don't got much left.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we appreciate Randy for hopping on. It was a good interview for sure. Me and Treeb are here for the after party segment of it. Going to get more into detail about the Eminem album. And interestingly enough, Treeb is the one that brought it up. So I don't know if he has any, if he even listened to it, or if he has any hot topics or opinions about the new album that came out. But we are eagerly awaiting for him to return. As I have this laptop on my lap, it is killing sperm cells by the second as he comes in.
Oh,
they say that Taco Bell and Mountain Dew cause plastic in your
tons of plastic in my sperm, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, we did about an hour and 5 minutes with Randy.
Yeah.
That
It's a pretty good target, you know.
Yeah.
Get in an hour, interesting conversations, and obviously he was on a bit of a time crunch, so
he had work to do. It was nice.
we appreciate him stopping by, taking time out from work to come and chat with us, and hopefully we can have him on again in the coming days for sure.
No, that was a lot of fun. Had a good time doing that. I think I need to kind of polish up the Trump the Trey segment.
Yeah. It was.
I think the questions are good. I think the format's good.
I think the questions are good. I think it's just kind of like I liked the questions where it was like you just said name Undertaker's WrestleMania opponents, and it would just go back and forth. I think that way it makes it a lot easier to where you don't have to keep score of who won. You don't have to keep a question on trivia question. I think, but I'll leave that up to you since you are the producer of this shit. So
A-list producer.
A-list producer.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what we want to do at the tail end of these things. You know, if you're sticking around watching this, just kind of, you know, digest some things, kind of talk about different things. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, just Treeb on Trey action here. Eminem's album, kind of, you know, transitioning away from the sports media now to talking about some different shit. I don't want to spend too long on it, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and it's like, was he just kind of holding all this stuff back for when he wanted to release Slim Shady? Because this is way better than any album he's dropped in, what is it, it's 2024 now, in like 20 years.
So the Death of Slim Shady came out yesterday. I got a chance to listen to it. It was a little bit late. Got to listen to it some more. And I pretty much second what Treeb is saying there. I think the thing that I'm most disappointed about is the guest appearances. You know, I was hoping that he would get Obi Trice on the album, that he would get D12, even though you had the most random feature of all time. You have Bizarre come in for literally about 30 seconds, and then he just left.
That's a pretty good song, though.
He came out, like, so that kind of disappointed me. I was hoping that we would get more diss. The Jordan Lucas diss was pretty surprising to me, but he didn't really like, and I don't understand what his obsession is with Christopher Reeves. why he kept throughout the album just dissing Christopher Reeves. Like, I don't know what he did to deserve that, but I was hoping to see more like Megan Thee Stallion, like, because that's where Eminem, in my opinion, is at his best, is when he's just lyrically dismantling people. And so
but he was kind of dissing America, really.
Yeah, he was dissing America, and he was doing all, I guess, what they say in the comedy world is punching down. But you know,
lyrically, like, really good.
Lyrically, really good. I thought that the first few songs on the album where he kind of went back to the staccato, badato, robotic flow, and then I felt like towards the later half of the album he kind of went more to the more traditional flow where, like, White America, like Eminem, Show Eminem, where he wasn't trying to do all this fast rap, because I look at fast rap and mumble rap the same way. Like, both styles to me are not impressive. You know, if you hate, like, mumble rap isn't that bad as fast rap if you're not saying anything of substance. So I did like how he went back to the more traditional flow towards the later ones, but I think where I'm at right now, Treeb, is I have to let it fester a little bit. I gotta listen to it a few more times, but my biggest takeaways on it is I wish he would have brought back more features from the golden days. I thought that obviously the Haley song was good towards the end.
So good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Me and Renee listened to it.
Yeah.
And we only listened to a couple songs. So I haven't listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I listened to probably, was it a 20-song album? I listened to probably 10, so probably half of it.
Yeah.
And I just told her, like, when she was getting ready, I said, just pick a song or pick a number 1 through 20. And the first number she picked was I don't even know what the song title is. What's Haley's song title?
I'd have to pull it up here, but
whatever that is, because Renee has a really good connection with her dad.
Yeah.
And I mean, she freaking actually legitimately cried listening to that song. Like,
I think it's Temporary.
Temporary, that's what it's
sure,
called.
Yeah.
Temporary, and she actually cried listening to that song. So I mean, I think that was the best song on the album, in my opinion. I really liked it. I don't, because the thing is Trey doesn't have emotions. So the thing is like Trey's not going to say that's the best song on the album. But I think, from my perspective, it was the best song on the album. There's a lot of good rap songs on there as well, from what I've heard. But from a feeling-provoking, Eminem's been plotting this whole album for like 20 years, and, the death of Slim Shady kind of thing, and he's basically saying, now I'm dead, and he's got old VHS recordings of Haley on there, like, just really, really good stuff, I thought.
Okay, so I didn't even know this, because when YouTube Music releases the songs, they don't put the guest features until way later. But
they didn't on Apple Music either.
Your boy is actually on the closer of this thing.
Which boy?
The boy, Jelly Roll.
Oh, I know.
He's on 19. I didn't even know who that was at first, to be honest.
It's a remix of one of his songs, yeah.
Yeah. So no, the guest features, and it's not even like me saying emotional, because it's like, I think one of Eminem's most acclaimed songs that is emotional is Darkness. Now I'm not even someone, like, I'm pro Second Amendment. Like, I'm pro Second Amendment in that, and the reason I brought that up is because that song's about, the Vegas shooting and all that. But I think that when he releases a song like that, it shows that he's still able to make dramatic, emotional songs like that, and not have it come across to where he just misses the mark entirely, like Hobson, for example. When he tries to tackle all this effort, it just comes across as corny, and he just misses the mark entirely on it. But no, I like it. The guest features, and also I wish that there was more disses on the thing. I think those are my only. The production of it was kind of underwhelming, if I'm being honest, but that's kind of something to be expected from Eminem albums as of late. So
yeah. And then something else I wanted to hit on too. Do you have any more Eminem thoughts?
No, I mean, I like the album, hoping that now what's next for Eminem is that I'm hoping that we either get a movie with him.
Oh, yeah.
I know that legit biopic, or no disrespect to Sway, but he needs to get on a podcast like Drink Champs. He needs to get on DJ Vlad and No Jumper. Joe Rogan even. He just needs to get on a legitimate, someone that actually follows his career, where every question just isn't scripted and boring. I know he did one with Mike Tyson a few years back.
Even if he goes on like Joe Rogan, I think like that interview would almost be good, because Joe Rogan probably has like no idea about him.
Yeah, I know.
And that almost would be better.
You think it'd be better because he doesn't know
like a whole lot about him.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a lot more conversational.
Yeah.
And like they're both girl dads. So I think like that would, I don't know, maybe. I'm a Joe Rogan guy, but a Joe Rogan podcast guy. His comedy is not really for me.
Yeah, if we're talking podcast, DJ Vlad, which I know a lot of people don't.
I don't like him.
A lot of people think that. I mean, that he was the guy that inspired me to want to do interviews. If we're being honest, I know a lot of people think that he's the feds and that he gets people locked up and all this whole shit. But
I mean, DJ Vlad's better than who's that No Jumper guy?
Adam 22.
Yeah, better than that.
I like Adam 22. I mean, no doubt about it. He's a douchebag, but I don't know. I think he has some charm to him in a way.
I think you're carving out a niche here.
Yeah.
I think the idea of you interviewing sports media people trying to learn more about it while your brother's in the field and kind of co-producing it, I think. I'm not really doing a whole lot. I mean, right now there's only one person watching. I think it's me.
Yeah.
I think it is me. But you know,
Yeah.
I think as this thing starts growing, I think it's gonna get better.
Well, you know, we're talking about music, and you know, ever since Trix up and left us all these years ago, it is my understanding that we actually have some musical people in the valley as well. So maybe we can get them to come on if we connect to them. Yeah.
Sure, we probably could. And I'll talk about this when we get to this topic. But before we do, let's keep talking about music. Something I want to bring up to you. I haven't listened to the whole album, but something I thought was funny and something I thought was cool, and it's probably a wet dream of yours and a wet dream of mine if we were, you know, in high school. Tech 9 and Eminem dropped on the same day.
Oh, Tech 9. I thought it was rumored that Tech 9 was going to be on the album, but you're saying that he released...
yeah, he released a Collabos album.
I didn't even...
I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that. And I listened to 2 songs a day, but I got caught up at work.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to near the whole thing. I listened to 2 things. I listened to 2 songs on the album.
Yeah.
And those 2 songs on the album, one of them was a song featuring Kevin Gates and Snow the Product. And they both killed it. It was a very good song. Snow the Product killed it. I need to keep listening to more Snow the Product. She's very good. She's very good.
Yeah, one of her songs, Doing Fine, is in my rotation. My rotation heavy, actually. What is your opinion on female rappers? Because to me,
they should be in the kitchen.
Because to me, you know, you have Snow the Product, even some, because I know we were in the car.
I said they should be in the kitchen. We had one viewer for a little bit.
And then they left. They were like, fuck this misogynistic podcast. But it's like, you know, like you were making fun of me of like playing Nicki Minaj. You're like, ew, Nicki Minaj, but she has a few good songs. Or no, this wasn't like back in the day. This was like 2 months ago when we were.
I've been on Nicki for a while.
Yeah,
I've liked Nicki for a long time. I think there's some female rappers that are good, but there's it's kind of like female comedians, you know, like there is a very select few that are good, and it's kind of the same thing with rappers.
All right, well, since we're going the misogynistic route anyway, who do you think the hottest one is?
I don't want to do that.
Okay, yeah, you have a girlfriend, so.
Well, and I tell you, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you have.
I don't want to do that. But I will say, female rappers I think are talented. I think So the product's talented.
Some of them can kill it for sure.
I think Nicki Minaj is talented, obviously.
Yeah,
I think she deserves a spot on some of the greatest rappers of all time.
Yeah,
I think she's the greatest female rapper of all time. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Missy Elliott's a good one too.
But I think Nicki has more hits. And I think she's been around longer now.
Yeah.
At this point. Like, I mean, people hate on that. I seen a list the other day, like some website. I swear this happens like once every 6 months.
Or someone will just post like a top 50 greatest rappers that gets everybody wound up.
Yeah. And Nicki makes a list and people get mad, but she probably deserves a spot there. I mean, if there's, you get top 50 rappers of all time, like if you're going to put a female on that list, I think you have to put Nicki.
Yeah.
I think you could forget Missy Elliott. I think you could forget like female rappers in the 90s hung around for like 6 years.
There were only like
they had no staying power.
Yeah. And like I feel like the primary audience of it in the 90s were guys.
Yeah,
so
now it's like 50-50.
So like Lil' Kim, for example, like they would only listen to her if she was infused with like 50 Cent or Biggie.
Yeah. You know who else kind of fucking is good?
What?
Fergie. I know she's not like a rapper really, but like, dude, Ferg, dude, she can fucking eat it up.
I think it's I think it's, what did you say, Fergie?
It is Fergie, but it's says
Fergie.
No, it's Fergie.
Is it?
It's not Fergie. It's Fergie.
Can't help it, girl, can't help it, clumsy, yeah.
Yeah, no, she goes off. She goes. He thought it was Fergie.
Fergie, I don't know.
It's Fergie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but anyway, we got off topic. We are currently, we're 83 minutes in. I think we can go an hour and a half at most.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of our mark that we would want to hit at most. But Tech Nine releasing the same day as Eminem. That's kind of crazy. And the thing that I thought was crazy was somebody posted a screenshot of Eminem and Tech Nine dropping on the same day, and Eminem, he got I think 150,000 views the second that it dropped. I'm talking 30 minutes, and Tech Nine's album got 80.
That alone just lets you know that Tech Nine doesn't give a shit about money or being respected in the industry, because if he was actually chasing the ring, trying to be competitive in the shit, he would never release an album the same day as Eminem would. So I think by him doing that is just him saying, fuck it, I don't care,
I'm just doing it.
My fans that, my diehard fans are going to listen to it, and that's who I'm doing it for at this point in my career, really.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think he's got some decent features on there. I haven't looked at all of them. I think he's got a lot of the Strange Music people. Kevin Gates was kind of a surprise.
I thought last time I heard from him he was in prison, so I guess he got out.
He was a surprise. Yeah. One thing that I did want to mention to you about the Tech Nine album is he did have a feature on it that I was surprised. You want to know who it was?
Can you give me a hint?
You love him.
So I love him.
Yeah.
Is he where's he from? Is he under the Eminem umbrella?
He's under more of the Tech Nine umbrella.
Stevie Stone. Well, Stevie Stone probably.
He was on
there,
but no.
Under the Tech Nine umbrella.
Yeah, nobody crazy other than. Just think about it. You made a video about it.
Hobson.
Yeah.
So Hobson, I don't even know if I consider him under the Strange Music, but
we're fucking what? Funk Volume and Strange Music are basically the same thing.
So Hobson has been MIA for the past 9 months. I'm glad that I'm not a Hobson fan anymore, because I see people on Reddit, because sometimes I'll get bored and I'll wonder if he died or if he went to prison or something.
He's just on the Tech Nine album.
And then I'll see posts on Reddit. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if the verse that he has on there is just a verse he had back in 2011.
It's not that good. I listened to it. It was fine.
Yeah.
But and another guy who's on there was he's kind of also under the Funk Volume umbrella, but he was never on the label. Okay, I'm gonna give you some hints on who this collab guy is.
Yeah.
Okay, he was never on the album, but he's kind of got. He was never on the label, but he's kind of got Funk Volume ties. He's never on the album. The label. He has Funk Volume ties.
I think I know who you're getting at with this one.
Who is it?
G-Mo.
Yeah. I didn't even know he still rapped.
Yeah, G-Mo's
and he's on Tech Nine's album. That's good for him, dude.
No, G-Mo's actually pretty active. Unlike Hobson, G-Mo.
Is Streetlight still active? Do you know?
No, Streetlight, The Joker, and Godamus. Those are
I don't know who that is. But yeah.
He's a part of Seth's crew, but those are people from the underground that 4 or 5 years later they turn out to be pieces of shit and would scam.
Streetlight, a piece of shit.
Yeah, he would scam people from his artists and fuck the Joker. That guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And
he called us once.
Yeah, I don't care. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
He called us when we were sober.
Yeah, I remember that very well.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't really recall much. I don't recall much of the conversation. I recall him saying, "Since you said please."
Yeah, you said please, and then I was in the bathroom or something, and then you came and got me and said the Joker's on the phone. And it wasn't because the music we listened to was so niche, it wasn't even nah, that couldn't have happened. But it's if the Joker's gonna call you, it's not oh, fucking Kendrick Lamar is calling you. If
but
you
it was a big deal to us.
It was a big deal for us, but if you said the Joker's going to call you, then you would believe it, that it was him. So
what did we talk about? Do you remember?
Not just like
Ugh.
funk volume, really, and like all this shit. Nothing profound or nothing.
Should
I
have
know,
more
I know,
substance.
I know. Spitback is tough.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I hate it.
Uh,
It's rough.
Speaking of stuff while we're kids, since this is just going to be a long podcast, if you listen this far, thank you.
Yeah.
But, you know, something I think about a lot is blog TV. You ever think about that?
Yeah, blog TV was, and you know, like thinking about this is like
It was Twitch before Twitch.
I feel bad for like when I say our parents, I don't mean like.
Well, I don't want to get into that. But,
I don't mean like our parents, but I'm talking about like our generation's parents.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is like our parents didn't grow up online. They didn't experience social media, and we were like the first generation to really be on social media and the internet and all that. And so our parents were the kind of the guinea pigs of trying to figure out what's going on. And you know, there was a lot of dirtbag stuff that happened on blog TV and all that, but you know, there were some good memories from those days for sure. And it was like really above its time, like you said, Twitch, like no one, and I think that website even got taken down, like not like recently,
Well,
but
and the thing
back
was,
when, yeah,
and I'll say two things about it, and then we got to cut it off because we're almost over our time limit here.
yeah.
That website was sketchy, and maybe we'll save more of this for like a future podcast.
Yeah.
But the fact that it had a blog TV Junior, and all you had to do was like change your birth date to something that was younger, like that is sketchy as fuck. And you, like, we would try to press to like be on the adult kind of website,
Yeah.
or like the above age, and it's not like they were doing anything crazy, but like just to like be on like the better website. But like fucking pedophiles could have just easily got on and pedophile fucking thing, you know, fucking did. Fucking,
One girl killed herself because of what happened.
I don't know about that.
Amanda Todd.
Oh, was that on Blog TV?
That was on Blog TV. You can watch the documentary about it on YouTube.
I didn't know that was on Blog TV.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. We were part of that whole community.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude.
We weren't girls, unfortunately.
Yeah, no.
Let's just be real. Like, let's just be honest.
Blog TV, the fact that they had like a Blog TV Junior.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe that's like a whole different podcast for a whole different day. But like, I mean, that's crazy.
I don't even remember that, to be honest.
Blog TV Junior, we used to fucking own that shit. We used to have like the most people in our chat, dude.
I just remember like those were not good times in general for us. Not particularly not good times. I'll just leave it at that.
But
I cussed out an old lady that summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even cuss her out, you just flipped her off. But
Yeah, same shit.
anyway, we're going to end this thing off here with two things. So the future of the podcast here, guys. I know probably not a lot of you are listening this far. If you are, cool. But just a couple spit takes here. I currently have access to the Trey's Raw YouTube channel. I'm going to clean it up, hopefully. And I would like to just, you know, try to make this better. See how it goes. Might have some shorts on Treeb Talks. Might not. We'll see. Probably going to just end up uploading shorts here on Trey's Raw.
Yeah.
And doing that and making it better for you guys, making this whole thing an experience, making this thing awesome, making this whole podcasting game really, really fun, making this whole experience really, really dope.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of, Dad, about the future of this podcast here?
Nah, I would say I'm just excited to be on the podcast and hopefully
You're the host. You're the head honcho.
Be the head honcho of the podcast, and you know, looking forward to grow and to learn, because really that's the main reason why I'm doing it. Like, obviously, would it be nice if we blew up? Yeah, but you know, like I would go on, you know, speaking of like shithole, you know, sites or whatever, but even like places like Omegle, for example.
Yeah.
Like
the Omegle. Yeah.
I mean, like were there times when I went there to get my, whatever?
All right. Yeah.
Sure. But it's like that's not even like because like for me, I just like to learn about people. Like when I'm watching like a YouTube video or like even like a movie or whatever, and they say a person or a word that I'm not familiar with, I'll just go on Google and I'll just pull up the word. It might not pique my interest, but the more you know, the more you know. So to me, that is my main attraction on why we're doing this, and I hope that we're able to grow it to new levels. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna try.
Yeah.
And, hopefully Trey kind of lifts his weight in this situation here. It's not all Treeb trying to do it here, but we'll see.
You said I'm the head honcho. Did when Hobson and Dame were going through that whole shit? Like, do you think Hobson did anything? Hard work. It was all Dame. It was all.
We're no Hobson and Dame. We're brothers. All right, and then to end the podcast, I want to do this thing where we just give like a weekly take. It could be hot, could be cold, could be lukewarm. Just like a one sentence thing on just, we go through, by the time we record these, it's on Friday, we go through a 5-day week, we're about done with the week, you've gone through 5 days, your mind's been racing, obviously most of the time during this week, your mind's kind of been fixating on one thing, what has your mind been fixating? What is your take this week? My personal take this week is that I love my life. I love my life, and, there's been some struggles, here and there. Renee, she's sick, whatever, she hates her job, things get difficult. Sometimes we fight, and, sometimes things aren't as great as they can seem.
Right,
but,
right.
I have a job I love. I work for an industry that I really appreciate. I have a podcast with my brother that I'm trying to grow. And it's like, there's people around the world that don't have that kind of luxury. And, I'm sitting here with a live podcast as one viewer, and I'm saying, you know what, I love this shit. I'm going to grow it, and I'm gonna do it successfully. So I love my life. That's my take. What's your take?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't trip out on the whole. Excuse coughing a little bit. I wouldn't trip out on the whole one viewer because I know a lot of people would watch it after, because I also do a second podcast with my guy Shane, and we also do a live, but the only reason we do a live is to get it out so that we don't have to put shit together and all that. But a lot of the viewership will come after. I think my take in general is that people need to stop taking everything so seriously. And what I mean by that is, like, you have people like the Hawk Tua girl, and people on one side are like, like, this is like, she got famous from a blowjob technique. It's like, why are we anointing these people? But on the other side, it's people that are against it that are pushing that as well. And it's like, I think people just need to grow up and think that, stuff that's stupid to you is just gonna keep being whatever. Like me, it's like, if I were to see that video, I would just not care about it, and I'd just keep it moving. But incels and other people are the reason why she has whatever it is. And then, contrary to your belief, the people that are hating on her, you also play a factor on why that has happened. So just grow up and realize what it is.
Perfect. Well, I think that's about wrapping up the podcast here. We've done about 97 minutes, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Trey Is Raw YouTube channel. We're going to have some shorts, some clips, everything about that from this podcast uploaded onto this YouTube channel. Not sure yet if we're going to have this on the Treeb Talks YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Treeb Talks and you know how that went, and it's on the Treeb Talks YouTube channel, and it is fine, and we're doing it. But if not, that you're on the Trey's Raw YouTube channel, and everything is fine. Fucking hit that subscribe button. It's going to help us a lot. It's going to help us grow. This is the thing that the world needs. This is a fucking unserious yet serious podcast where we have fun. Two brothers that are doing the damn thing, and we are having a good fucking time. If you want to follow me on Twitter for all of my tangents about Taco Bell, sports, the Jags, everything like that, you can, at Treeb Talks. You want to follow me on Twitter? You can, at Treeb Talks. Everything that you've ever wanted to follow me on, you can, at Treeb Talks. Trey, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me, Trey is Raw. It's really the only social media. You can look up Justice T97 if you want. My Twitter, I'm pretty active on there as well. And not going to give away my Instagram and Facebook because those are personal. Like, still kind of hesitant on if I want to give my real name out together.
We've been saying Trey all fucking podcast.
But I'll just say Twitter Justice T97 and then Trey is Raw on YouTube.
I'm so confused. What do you mean you're hesitant to give your full name away? Your fucking Instagram handle is your middle name, and we've been calling you your full name.
No, my
this whole time.
my Instagram handle is my last name and part. Well, my Instagram handle is my name and part of my last name, and then the year I was born.
Well, who cares?
I care.
At this point.
Yeah.
People know me. You just gotta look me up on the Tribune website, and they can find you.
Yeah.
You know that by having me on.
I make a lot of enemies online, Treeb. I don't know if you know this, but playing Madden and playing Fall Guys, and people are in these streets. They're looking for me. They want my address. They want to beat me up. But all that being said, I'm tired of hiding it anymore. I'm tired of being afraid. And if you really want my Instagram, it is TreyPix97. So there we go.
There you go. Not that big of a deal. Thank you guys for tuning in.
And we'll be back. Peace.